Saturday Social is powered by EA Sports FIFA 23 with PlayStation.
Time now for What's Trending, Joe. We know the rules.
Yep.
The guests will get unlimited amount of time to debate the biggest talking points from the world of football on social. What's first up, mate?
Well, trend number one is about Manchester City, isn't it? Got the job done midweek against title rivals Arsenal, pretty emphatically, you'd have to say. And now the talk kind of turns towards a potential treble. We can have a look at Manchester City's remaining fixtures across the course of the season. Still a lot to play. But, you know, you look at some of those games, winnable in the Premier League, Madrid, home and away, United in the Cup final, and then June the 10th, a possible Champions League final if they were to beat Real Madrid in the semis. So it does set up the chat lovely, doesn't it, for a potential treble. So that's the question we're going to ask. Are they going to win the treble this season, Flav?
I think so. I think it's inevitable. I've seen the Manchester City side like this before. They've done it similarly in the league against Liverpool, but this just feels different. There's something slightly better about Manchester City this time, and their squad's bigger. They have Haaland where they didn't have him before. I just can't see anyone beating them. I think they might drop points in the Premier League still. I think there's some games that you'd expect them to win that they might drop points, but in the big clutch moments, they're too good. This is the season where they win the Champions League.
Sadly, I agree. I think they are ominous. They just look so perfect, and what Pep Guardiola has done is incredible. I think the easiest thing to do, obviously, we know the brilliance of Manchester City. We know how devastatingly good they are. But if we analyse the teams that have to stop them winning the treble, it's Arsenal, who I don't think are capable of stopping them winning the league. Then it's Real Madrid, who are obviously capable, but I do think there is a vulnerability to this Real Madrid team.
Potentially without Modric as well.
Potentially without Modric. Yeah. And then it's Manchester United, who I think Manchester United have had a very good season, and Erik Ten Hag's done a lot right. But it's going slightly wrong. I think Ten Hag made a lot of mistakes against Tottenham. And ultimately, if Manchester City are playing Manchester United at Wembley, you're asking not who wins, but you're asking by how many do Man City win?
I think it'd be tighter than that. But what a story, though. I can't wait for that FA Cup final. And what a story if Man United stop City from equalling their record.
Yeah. Where would it rank if Man City do win the treble in terms of the greatest ever Premier League teams for you, Rory?
When people ask me the greatest ever Premier League team, you know, you can talk about Mourinho's team, you can talk about the Invincibles, you can talk about the treble winners, you can talk about the Centurions. My answer is always 99 Manchester United.
I
because
agree.
of the treble.
Because they won three
Because
trophies.
of the treble. Like people will always say about the amount, the points tally accrued or whatever, but for me, it's always that one. And therefore, if Manchester City equalise it, but equalise it with more points, it's very difficult to say that it isn't this Man City team.
I'd agree on that treble team. That to achieve all three
Come on, United
trophies,
in the
amazing.
final.
And we're going to stick with Man City for our second trend because the records keep being broken by Erling Haaland, as we can see here. I mean, it feels like every week we're talking about a different record, Joe, but this was the record that he broke this week, which we're about to see. There it is, 33rd goal. Premier League goal this season, which is the highest tally of any player in a 38-game Premier League season. And as you can see, a lot of the comments there, Rory, it's referencing you. One from me, I should say. And I know that, I mean, you're a massive fan of Haaland, aren't you, Rory? So I imagine you're delighted for him.
Yeah, I think he should win the Ballon d'Or. I don't know how anyone would doubt
Funny you should say that, because that's our next trend. If Man City win the treble, should Erling Haaland win the Ballon d'Or? We've got Erling Haaland's biggest fan in the studio, and Rory Jennings, who's always backed him since day one. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland,
the ultimate
deserves a Ballon d'Or. There is no negotiation about it. Erling Haaland
There is
does
negotiation
deserve
about it.
a Ballon d'Or. No, not if they win the treble and his goals have rocketed them.
And Messi wins the World Cup.
Erling Haaland had a better season.
Yeah, that's ages ago, isn't it?
Erling Haaland had a better season.
It's done
4 months ago.
Yeah, but no.
Lionel Messi did brilliantly in the World Cup, and obviously it's a historic moment for him. And he is the greatest player to have ever lived. That's non-negotiable. But in terms of this season, in terms of just being so ruthless, so brilliant, landing in a new league, changing the champions to fit your style, and still being sensational, I think Erling Haaland deserves a Ballon d'Or now, regardless, in fact.
I think
Come on, Rory. Regardless, if Messi wins the World Cup, puts up 50 goals. Well, yeah, he's won the World Cup, but puts up 50 goal involvements, wins his league, wins his cup. Doesn't win the Champions League,
but wins his league in a league that's so heavily.
One team stats. Messi, World Cup winner with Argentina. Obviously, he was the player of the tournament as well in the World Cup. 28 goals for club and country, 15 goals and 15 assists in the league. Let's not forget Mbappe, Golden Boot in the World Cup, 8 goals and 2 assists, 46 goals for club and country. Haaland, 55 goals for club and country, 12 goals in the Champions League. They're the three that just we're thinking of: Messi, Mbappe, Haaland. So,
but with the club achievements as well, like the World Cup is obviously it's the pinnacle, but it's a tournament. Whereas Haaland's done it in 3 cases and over a league season as well, and that you can't compare what PSG are doing in France with what Man City are doing in England. It's like a different sport.
Both for you, Haaland, and you actually said earlier, not to put words in your mouth, but you said even if he doesn't score again, Haaland should still win the Ballon d'Or.
If I were voting in this, I would say Haaland, and I don't know anybody that would doubt him.
If Haaland has a big moment in the final or against Real Madrid, gets a brace,
like Messi's already had in the World Cup final.
Yes. But Haaland has achieved on club level more than what Messi has. So that might. You want it to be Messi, clearly.
I think it's Messi. Yeah, I think that not only the World Cup final, his performances throughout the World Cup, even what he's been able to do with PSG, we can all sit here and say, oh, what does it matter about Liga and blah blah blah. He's still doing it. He's at that club, still doing it, scoring goals, winning trophies.
He could do it one leg in that league.
I also think the legacy of carrying Argentina to their first World Cup.
I think it's got to be Messi
for decades, obviously, for a lot of people. That when it comes to the
Haaland's going to have his chance
to
to win it in the future.
He's going to have a chance people's minds.
But isn't that's not the approach? I agree with you. But that's not the approach. There isn't like a generosity. We're not giving it to Messi kind of cumulatively.
We're not, no, because he's won a World Cup and
he's also won it about 40 times already.
But he hasn't had a better season than Haaland. He had, like, in terms of what he's done this season.
In terms of pure goal scoring numbers, no. You know, in terms of being in part of a better team, no. But if you were to put Messi in that Manchester City team this season, do we not think he would be doing? We would be saying, oh, this is a treble winner, best player in the world.
But it's hypothetical. You know, PSG dropped out of the Champions League, which is part of the reason that they signed Lionel Messi. Oh, look, Messi's a sensation, a phenomenon, and we're honoured to have watched him play. But I just don't think he's had a better season than Erling Haaland.
I tell you what, it's a great debate. So let us know, Homer, you think. Is it Messi? Is it Mbappe? Maybe is it Haaland? Who should win the Ballon d'Or? It's a good debate, that.
Yeah, absolutely. And another good debate was sparking on social media this week when, of course, Manchester City beat Arsenal. And after that defeat, Rio Ferdinand posed a very interesting question.
Arsenal don't win the league, Man United finish third and just have the one trophy. They've had a better season than you. That's rubbish. If you're a player and you finish third and you win a trophy, right, Carabao Cup, wherever it is, right, and a team above you finish second and win no trophies, who's the happier player?
Ooh. Who is the happier player, Rio says there. So we're going to ask our guests. If Arsenal finish second and Man United finish third with silverware, because of course they've won the Carabao, but they could win an FA Cup yet as well, so it could be 2. Who will have had the better season?
This is ridiculous. This isn't a debate. Obviously the team with silverware. Obviously the team that has won silverware, a team that has gone to Wembley, lifted a trophy, beating Newcastle along. Obviously, Manchester United will have had a better season.
Coming from a fan of a club who doesn't win silverware and has finished second, I'd much rather win a League Cup and finish third.
But is this the anti-Arsenal agenda in a Chelsea fan and a Spurs fan?
Always.
Because I'll pose. I know I'm a Man United fan, but as a neutral,
balance.
Maybe more successful season. But in terms of better season, who has enjoyed this season more, Man United fans or Arsenal fans? I think it's Arsenal fans.
Enjoyment is a very fluid concept. I guarantee you that at Wembley that day, when Manchester United watched their team win silverware, Manchester United fans were enjoying it far more. I just don't even see this as a debate. Silverware is what we're in it for. Tottenham fans tell you the game is about glory, which is ironic, but Tottenham fans do tell you that the game is about glory. Glory is winning silverware, not finishing second.
Good point.
I agree. I think, though, if you look at the set of players and think which club would I rather be at right now, they're probably happier at Arsenal than Man United.
But Manchester United achieved something historic this season. In the history books, when in 100 years from now, when people look at who won the League Cup this year, it was Manchester United, and that goes to the tally. It means something.
No one will remember.
Completely interchangeable and completely forgettable.
I know what you mean. Like if it was fifth and win a trophy, and fourth and not win a trophy, there's a debate because one's finishing the Champions League.
There's a debate. The answer is fifth and a silver.
Arsenal fans are going to be screaming it. They're going to be screaming because
they've been screaming. They've been screaming all week. They're screaming for 2 weeks.
They've been screaming for 2 decades since they last won a Premier League title.
Arsenal fans.
To be fair, Arsenal have still had a very
I think it's a very, very close
second.
debate. Honestly, even as a United fan, I think this.
Well, what would you rather have?
Very close debate.
Oh, good question.
If I would rather have, I think I would probably rather be in a title challenge than have won a Carabao Cup potentially.
And lost it. And lost the title.
Yeah, this is the thing, obviously. And
Potentially
losing the
two trophies,
title.
though.
Yeah, I know. It's difficult. I think it's really, really close. I think it's really, really close.
Sometimes my brain just doesn't have the chip in it to process this. I just think silverware. The answer is silverware, and I just can't understand how it's not.
Okay, fair
there
enough.
we go. But both having good seasons. United and Arsenal. Again, let us know. We can't agree on any of these trends. We're going to move on again. I hope we can agree on this one for time purposes. Ryan Mason took charge of his first game in charge midweek, 2-2 draw against your team, Man United. And in the week, you got a lot of people talking about who should be the next permanent Spurs manager. And Ralph Rangnick actually had this to say about the rumours linking Julian Nagelsmann. Give this a watch.
I think Tottenham is an exciting club in multiple ways. They have one of the most modern, beautiful stadiums in the world. They have one of the best training centres there is at the moment. If Tottenham really wants him, it would still be important to have a sporting director there to assist him. Paratici is suspended as far as I know. I think it could be a very exciting story. There's a lot of room for improvement, but it's still not a club you'd expect to finish second or third.
Obviously, that wasn't Ralph's voice. That was,
There's a translation at the top of Ralph's
by
voice,
Craig, just to let you know. But yeah, interesting point. Who should be the next Tottenham manager? So the next Spurs permanent manager for next season. Flav, coming to you as a Spurs fan, who are you saying?
Well, I mean, ideally it'd be Nagelsmann. I think the fact that we're even in the conversation to attract a manager of that calibre, certainly coming up in his career as well, it would be him. Pochettino would have been the ideal replacement for me for reasons we've already got covered. But yeah, it's got to be Nagelsmann, and the fact that Rangnick might come in as a DOF as well solves another problem that we have.
Would you have that duo? You'd have.
I think it makes sense.
You'd love that.
It's not. I wouldn't say love it. I'd love Nagelsmann, but we need a DOF to work with him.
Yeah.
And if he just walks into it, it makes sense. And the fact that he's said no to Chelsea already makes it even better.
Yeah. What's your thoughts as Chelsea fans? You've already given your thoughts on Pochettino potentially coming to Chelsea. So how would you feel as a Chelsea fan if Nagelsmann, who you were linked with, became Tottenham's manager?
I don't care if Nagelsmann goes to Tottenham. I'm glad that Nagelsmann isn't coming to Chelsea. I didn't think that being that young...
Why?
Because I think he's too young. I want Luis Enrique.
Is that it?
No, I want somebody with prestige, with somebody with
Nagelsmann's won the Bundesliga last season. He only lost 3 games this season.
He's 35 years old, coming into Chelsea. You need to have that authority. You need to have that status. And I'm afraid a 35-year-old skateboarder does not.
It's the skateboarding. It's the skateboarding.
It's the skateboarding view, isn't it?
It is.
It's a skateboarding. I think he's too young. I do think he's too young for a job like Chelsea.
Young. That's the only issue for you.
Do you know what I did thoroughly enjoy about that clip, though? You have to allow me to say this. When Rangnick was talking about Tottenham and talking about everything that was good about Tottenham, he spoke about a great ground. OK, well done. You've attracted Beyonce. And he spoke about a training ground. It's training facilities and a stadium. It's never, ever the football team or the history of the club, is it?
What I would say is it is a great stadium and a great training ground, isn't it?
But that, isn't that a great platform for a manager to come into a club that is underachieving with the facilities, all the facilities he needs to make the club a success?
I mean, it'd be great. If you're Elton John, I think you'd look at that Tottenham ground and go, I'd love to play there. But I don't know why a footballer would.
What about, we've spoken about Nagelsmann, but some of the other names linked, we've seen Vincent Kompany linked.
Yeah, I love Kompany,
Yeah, we've seen Ange Postecoglou linked.
Vincent Kompany's been linked with a lot of top jobs,
What do we think about Vincent Kompany? Would you take Vincent Kompany?
I would, yes. I think I think he's...
I know, why did I ask that? I don't know. That was so newsy, wasn't it? Sorry, Flav.
It's all right. Joe Tomlinson, Saturday Social, on the sofa.
I would... it's really early. Age is an issue, but he's like what he's achieved and worked under Pep. That's going to have a massive impact. And what he's done with Burnley this season...
Age is an issue. He's older than Nagelsmann.
Is he?
He's still young.
But he's young for a manager and he's a novice in management.
They're both young managers, yeah.
Nagelsmann wasn't even a footballer, was he? I don't even think he played.
What's about Nagelsmann? Prior to Bayern Munich, he was one of the highest rated man. I mean, he still is, but his stock was so high.
It was unfair for him to be sacked. The fact that he's even in a conversation with Tottenham is mental. Well, at the start of the season, you would...
Let's not forget as well that Thomas Tuchel's lost as many games since taking over at Bayern Munich as Julian Nagelsmann did all season. So it's clearly not the ideal situation at Bayern Munich anyway, is it? Whether... or not.
No, you take him. You don't even... You're confused as to why he's even linked with Spurs.
I think he's just unbelievable. I think it would be an incredible coup for Tottenham to be able to convince Julian Nagelsmann when he's linked to the likes of PSG, Real Madrid... No,
he turned Chelsea down, though, didn't he? I think
it would be a huge coup.
I think he's an amazing
It'd probably
manager.
be the biggest coup since Tottenham got Antonio Conte, which at the time was like, why is he going there?
Yeah.
Well, we shall see.